welcome to our monthly roundup of the most important debates and decisions of the European Parliament's plenary session in Strasbourg. MEPs praised French President Nicolas Sarkozy for the achievements of France's six-month presidency of the Union. He had to deal with the crisis in Georgia, the worldwide financial crisis, and the difficult issue of how to reduce global warming.
MEPs acknowledged the successful handling of all these issues, and the representatives of the major political groups in the Parliament welcomed recent agreements reached by the heads of state and governments on measures to cope with the financial crisis and on the climate energy package. The French President emphasised the importance of the unanimous agreement on reducing CO2 gas emissions and favouring the use of renewable energies.
Sur l'énergie-climat, que les choses soient claires.
On the energy-climate package, let's be clear. The battle was tough, and I'm quite sure that everyone has some reasons to be dissatisfied. It would have been foolish at a point when a new President of the United States of America sets ambitious environmental objectives for the most powerful nation in the world, for Europe to drop its own ambitions. Irresponsible. Because if Europe was not united on the energy-climate package of the Commission, how could we think that Europe would be listened to by Indians, by Chinese, Brazilians, by all the countries of the world, which now also must take charge of the environmental balance of the planet?
The French President also looked to the future to better prepare the world to cope with the present crisis and the changes needed to reshape market structures.
Dans la crise financière, l'Europe a été unie.
In the financial crisis, Europe has been united. Europe called for the summit in Washington, Europe called for the G20, and Europe will organise in London on the 2nd of April next the summit of the reform of global governance. Europe said with a single voice that she wanted a capitalism of entrepreneurs and not a capitalism of speculators. She wanted the reform of the financial system. She wanted space for emerging countries. She wanted a capitalism of moral integrity.
The chairman of the EPP-ED group, Joseph Daul, underlined the importance of the solidarity and unity that the Union has shown in the last 6 months.
Recent months have shown us that only a united and strong Europe can provide answers to a challenge such as the financial and economic crisis. The past months have also shown that only our model of society, the social market economy, can ensure a proper balance between employees and employers and enable everyone to enjoy the fruits of their work, to fulfil ambitions without burden or unnecessary impediment, and ensure true solidarity.
Sans charge ni entrave inutile et assurer une vraie solidarité.
The President of the European Commission, José Manuel Barroso, underlined the importance of converting the political agreement reached in the summit into concrete action, and he set out the immediate budgetary decisions to take effect at the beginning of next year.
As regards the community budget, we will step up the advance payments from early 2009 so that Member States have earlier access to up to 1.8 billion euros. The Commission will adopt today a proposal to adapt the European Globalisation Adjustment Fund to the current situation and facilitate access. As regards the use of unspent money from the community budget, the European Council has given the Commission green light to propose a reallocation for trans-European energy interconnection and broadband infrastructure projects and to promote energy efficiency.
A week ago, EU heads of state and government agreed on an ambitious package to reduce CO2 emissions and to increase the use of renewable energies. The agreement, approved by the European Parliament, will enter into force now.
Parliament finally adopted the EU climate change and energy package this week. The measures will implement the greenhouse gas reduction goals set at the EU summit in spring 2007. EU heads of state and government had agreed on a binding 20% reduction target by the year 2020 compared to 1990 levels. The implementing legislation includes a reform of the current EU emission trading scheme and a directive on renewable energies. The reform of the emission trading system is the cornerstone of the package. Industry will have to buy emission certificates through auctioning as from 2013. The total number of emission rights will decrease over time and contribute to the 2020 reduction target. EPP-ED member Avril Doyle, who is the European Parliament's rapporteur, explains why it is time to act.
The cost of reducing carbon emissions and decoupling our economies from our fossil fuel dependency will be about 1% of GDP if we act and act decisively over the next 10 years. If we postpone the decisions that we as politicians have been told by peer-reviewed scientists are essential to reach the 2 degrees centigrade maximum increase in global temperature, the cost will be at least 10% of GDP by 2020 and increasing steeply as environmental tipping points will be tracked by financial ones.
At the same time, the EU is going to increase the share of renewable energies to 20% of the total energy output. The share of renewables in the transport sector is to reach 10%. Member States have to ensure that they meet the binding targets. The EPP-ED group is in favour of the roadmap to greener energy production. Werner Langen MEP, the group's spokesperson on the subject, has this view.
We fully support the deal reached between Parliament and Council because it opens up a range of opportunities to use all kinds of renewable energies. Commissioner Dimas has encouraged us to vote in favour, even if we didn't like everything that's in it. The proposal from Commissioner Piebalgs, however, provided a solid basis, and there wasn't that much we had to improve.
The EU is the first global player to introduce binding legislation to fight climate change, so it can help shape a successful post-Kyoto conference in Copenhagen in December 2009.
The European Union has adopted a new Working Time Directive following years of attempts to reform the old one. The main idea is that the Union adopts rules to determine how many hours we should work and whether Member States have the option to opt out from these rules.
In a debate in Parliament, the French Presidency was praised by MEPs for the role it played in the issue. EPP-ED spokesman on the issue, José Silva Pineda, said that one of the divisive issues has been whether inactive on-call time should be considered working time and therefore be fully paid.
On-call time and the opt-out clause are the two main political aspects of this directive. As far as on-call time is concerned, I do not see any reason for not implementing the decisions made by the Court of Justice. There is a solution to this problem, which I am sure will be adopted in a conciliation settlement, and it will solve the problems of some member states.
In the European Council's proposal, a possibility is included for member states to opt out from parts of the directive, most notably the limit on working hours allowed, the 48-hour working week. This opt-out is supported by the EPP-ED group. Philip Bushill-Matthews, the EPP-ED coordinator in the Committee on Employment and Social Affairs, said in the debate he had received a large number of letters from worried workers urging him not to stop them from choosing the hours they work.
And I was particularly struck by a family mentioned in a paper just 3 days ago where the husband has lost his job in construction and the wife was having to take 2 part-time jobs in order to keep their family of 3 children and the husband in their house. She was having to work 12 hours a day for 7 days a week. She didn't want to, but she needed to keep the family together. And yes, she was from your country, Alessandra. She was from Spain. So what help did you offer her? What hope do you offer her? Neither. You say you can't do it. So you're going to have to give up one of your jobs, give up your children, give up your house.
After the final vote in plenary, the compromise and the common position, including the possibility to opt out, were adopted.
In 2007, there were several recalls of millions of unsafe toys. The European Parliament promptly asked for a full revision of the Toy Safety Directive. Just 10 months later, under the leadership of EPP-ED Vice Chairwoman Marianne Thyssen, Parliament adopted the new rules. It is in fact the strictest consumer safety legislation in the world. The most important innovations of the new directive are a total ban on the use of chemical substances which are carcinogenic, mutagenic or toxic for reproduction, completely new rules on allergenic fragrances, new very strict rules on heavy metals, and stricter rules on sounds produced by toys. Mrs. Thyssen was pleased with the result.
We cannot compromise when it comes to the safety of toys. Therefore, we have worked together in a very constructive manner, without giving in on any of the crucial points, so as to reach a very high level of consumer protection. For our political group, consumer protection has always been high on the agenda, As these new rules concern children, the smallest and most vulnerable consumers, we have been all the more thorough.
For further information on our session report, log on to our website, EPP-ED.eu. This was our last session report for 2008. On behalf of the EPP-ED Group Press Service and the EPP-ED TV team, I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.